Christian Horner had some very strong words about how the McLaren cars behaved in Austria, and from what we can see, it looks like Red Bull has officially lost their way with their car called the RB21. The complaints from Horner could show that there's weak leadership and they can't make their car upgrades work properly, which might make Verstappen want to leave soon. But will the team be ready to turn things around now when it really matters? And if they can't, what bad things might happen to them? Ever since McLaren started using their amazing new approach that shot them to the front of all the racing cars, there's one big question that all their competitors are asking. How can they be so good at taking care of their tires? For the past couple of years, we've seen that Red Bull was able to take care of their tires much better than everyone else back in 2022 and 2023, but it's definitely not as good as McLaren is now, and this is what caught the attention of Christian Horner, the team boss of Red Bull. He's completely sure that the McLaren car is just in a world all by itself. And the fact that Piastri followed Norris so closely for such a long time in Austria proves that tire wear isn't really a problem for their car. Not only that, but the long braking areas and the high-speed corners also had no bad effect on their tires at all. While we saw that Ferrari was forced to slow down and save fuel almost right after the race started, unfortunately, we weren't able to see what Verstappen could do at his home race because he got knocked out on the first lap, but Horner doesn't really have much hope when it comes to catching up to McLaren in that area. Explaining more about this, the Red Bull team boss said, "I think temperature is always a big factor. Long corners are where they're really strong." It was truly amazing to me. I can't see any other team being able to do it. When you look at how Oscar is able to drive behind Lando, with a car that's heavy with fuel at the start of the race, and he's basically right up close to his exhaust pipe for lap after lap after lap, and the tires aren't getting ruined. That to me is their advantage, and they've managed to create a car that really protects their tires well and has good balance. I can't see any other car that would be able to follow that closely and not mess up the front tires or rear tires with a lot more sliding around. In this time period, a lot of importance has been placed on the dirty air when following a car, which not only ruins your tires but also puts you at risk of losing grip when going into a series of high-speed corners. That was definitely not the case with McLaren in Austria. And what an amazing show was put on by both Norris and Piastri. A first and second place win on Red Bull's home turf, clean racing, and a statement that there's a new top team in town. This is nothing but bad news for Horner, who has seen a lot of criticism aimed at him for the way he does his job as team boss. Good results are needed. The car gets a lot of upgrades on it, but it's definitely hard to drive. Ever since important people left Red Bull like Newey and Wheatley, the Austrian team has found it very hard to make a competitive car that would actually work as well as all the computer simulations back at their factory. I do agree that one person doesn't make the whole team. But I also think that Newey had a very important part in developing the car. So much so that Red Bull has basically lost its way without him. You won't hear Horner or Marco admit it directly, even though in the last couple of months there have been statements that Newey played a huge role in the ground effect era and the development of Verstappen's championship-winning car. After all, 2023 was the first year when Red Bull managed to finish first and second in the Drivers' Championship, leaving only one race to be won by another team. Singapore by Sainz, and now there's a different story being told by the leadership of the Austrian team since the internal fighting left the team structure. Broken. Jos Verstappen's warnings are now becoming more and more realistic. The team is struggling to see hope for the future, and it's almost certain that Max won't fight for the Drivers' Championship in the second half of the season. 61 points is a very big gap to make up when you don't have the best car, especially when you have to go against two McLaren drivers. Last year, the start of the season was very good for Max, and the car was good enough for him to collect valuable points and keep his championship hopes alive. But in 2025, that's definitely not the case. And Horner knows better than anyone else that his driver will be very unhappy with where he currently stands in the Drivers' Championship. Talking about a potential fight here, Horner said, "McLaren, you can see how they're racing each other. They've got a big lead over the rest of the teams. For us, we will just focus on one race at a time. We don't think about the championships. We just focus on the next race, Silverstone. What can we achieve there? Same as Spa, same as Budapest. I think this season the gap that they have is really big. So it looks very much like a two-horse race. So what are the bad things that could happen because of what's currently going on at Red Bull? I think you have to look at the whole picture here. Max Verstappen, if it weren't for him, the Austrian team would be in dead last place with only 8 points scored by Perez as the second driver on the team. It's a very terrible fact and something that could make Max think about a future somewhere else after the crash in Austria. And now that Russell is just 9 points behind him in the Drivers' Championship, reports from well-known F1 media said that Max is thinking about using his exit clause, something that could happen during the summer. Break. If it happens, make no mistake that Red Bull will blame Christian Horner, and rightfully so. The British team boss has been given a lot of room to work after the internal fighting and has taken on a bigger leadership role, and all of that comes with its own responsibility. What is Max Verstappen's role in this whole situation? For starters, we need to talk about the demands that the four-time world champion has reportedly sent to his team. If Horner gets replaced or has his powers reduced, then he could be thinking about a future with Red Bull beyond 2026 as well. It doesn't end here. Verstappen firmly believes that upgrades won't work on the car no matter who leads the team. Combine this with what Toto Wolff and Russell said about talks with Verstappen still happening and will likely take until the summer break to be figured out, and you have every reason to be mad at Horner for turning the team into what it is today. And again, I just can't help but remember what Jos Verstappen said. We all called him a drama queen when he said that the team would be in ruins if Horner's leadership continued. But now there seems to be a very real chance for this to actually happen. Obviously, all of them are going to try to hide from this, and Marco already said that Max won't use his exit clause because of the bad performance of the team, but I would like to be careful about this until I see it actually happening. When talking about Max's clause, Marco said, "I assume people will use a race like this to stir up trouble, but, again, Verstappen has a contract through 2028. Like all top drivers, there are performance-based exit clauses. But as things currently stand, there is absolutely no reason that this contract won't be completed." When you have a team principal of Horner's level being challenged for his job, you can easily connect the dots and start to look for a rebuilding path somewhere else. The top choice for a potential new role in Red Bull and a new era with the new rules is definitely Andrea Stella, the former boss of McLaren. Yes, Red Bull could definitely promote someone from within because the team structure has stayed pretty solid in the past couple of years. But considering the war damaged some relationships and burned down quite a lot of bridges, I don't really see this happening. Stella's time with Audi has been quite short, and I can easily say unsuccessful. But a change of environment can definitely boost his hopes about a new beginning with the Austrian team. All in all, the reality for Horner is quite dark, and whether we like it or not, Red Bull is facing a lot of trouble moving forward in 2025, as well as 2026. A very difficult period in getting used to the new rules is coming for them. And if they enter it without Horner and Max, make no mistake that the team will find it very hard to be not just up front, but even in the middle of the pack. With all this in mind, what do you think about Horner's comments about McLaren's car? And more importantly, do you think that he's as good as gone from the team? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video that appears on your screen right now.